All right, greetings, class. Welcome to week number 3. That is right, week number 3 of your cultural heritage class, 9410 as of right now, and hopefully after this semester it will be assigned its own catalog number. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and we are going to make this one fairly short. There's not really a lot that I need to talk about. I'll do the state of the course sort of thing, and then I'll just soapbox just a little bit related to cultural heritage, well, to landscape heritage, and specifically why I wanted to actually make this module first of the 3 closer look modules. You'll have a closer look at tangible heritage and then closer look at intangible heritage in the weeks to follow this week. But we started out with the landscape heritage. That is actually counter to what would probably be expected. Probably normally it would be starting talking about tangible, then intangible, and then landscape. However, the reason why we went on ahead and did the reason we did do the landscape heritage first was largely, to be honest with you, is because in those first 2 weeks, you had to tackle the really heavy introductory material and that sort of thing. You all did a great job, by the way, looking at the second discussion board prompt for week 2. Yeah, you all did amazing. There's not too much more to say about that. I do have a few more that I need to read, but for the most part, well, for all of them that I've read thus far and responded to, they've been amazing. And we really got a really good mix of different concerns, and all of them were valid, whether it came to be climate or tourism. Language even came up, which was the first time I've had that come up in a class. So you all are doing excellent work, and I would strongly encourage you to keep that up. It looks great. I do think that you all are going to enjoy the St. Helena Island video that is the required video for this week, and also what will be that video was kind of the cornerstone to your discussion prompt this week. But so far, excellent job with I'm very happy and very satisfied with what I'm seeing in the discussion posts right now. So that's the big state of the course thing. The landscape heritage readings, they're a little bit lighter than what you had those first 2 weeks of introductory material, and they're going to be a bit lighter than what you'll have in the tangible and intangible. So this landscape heritage unit, I wanted to do that to kind of give you a break after 2 weeks of rather intense reading. After this week, you'll have 2 more weeks where the readings are a little more intense and scholarly and that sort of thing. And then after that, once you get to the music heritage unit, things are kind of smooth sailing from then on out. The reading is more interesting, more engaging, less dry academic reading. And from then on, I think the topics get more fun. So that's what that is. Let me pause for a second. The next thing I wanted to mention is that I do think that so far only 2 of you have proposed doing a project as opposed to the final paper, which is fine. If most of you want to do the final paper, go for it. But I do want to see at least some people in this class do the creation sort of thing in lieu of the final paper. But the final paper is there so that you're not required to do the creation thing. And especially in COVID times, I don't feel comfortable making people do that. So having said that, yes. By all means, if you want to just do the final paper, don't worry about it. But I do want to remind you, you still have until February the 15th. If you decide you want to do one of those papers related to, if you want to do a project related to creation or something that benefits cultural heritage outside of the classroom, be it promotion materials for a museum or a collection that you digitize or something like that, anything like that, I look forward to having proposals and having some of you all do that. Again, you have until, it's January 31st when I'm going to be uploading this. You have until February 15th. So let me know if you would like to do something that's a creative project instead of the final paper. Okay, and then so finally I'm going to soapbox just a little bit, probably for about 5 minutes. So I'll be able to keep this check-in video at 10 minutes. And by the way, you can speed check-in videos up, as I mentioned previously. So what I would say is that one of the interesting things about landscape heritage is that, especially once you consider the plants and the animals that inhabit a particular landscape, and if you count architecture as landscape heritage as opposed to tangible heritage, and again, I wouldn't call it a debate, but there's a little inconsistency in as far as who decides to do what with that. But if you look at architecture as part of the landscape heritage, and you look at preservation, the amount of water in the landscape, those sorts of things, I think that whether or not it's hilly or whether or not it's flat, all of these different things that kind of act as factors and contribute to the state of landscape heritage. I think that one of the reasons why I find the landscape heritage piece so interesting and so important is because, yes, even I think that is one of the pieces of cultural heritage that is more humanity responding to the factors that are creating the heritage, as opposed to humans actually creating and dominating the creation of the heritage. And let me explain what I mean by that, because I know that's probably real confusing. It's in my head, but it's hard for me to articulate it. But maybe if I elaborate just a little bit, then some things will be a little more clear. So when it comes to tangible heritage, for instance, and similar things would be said about intangible heritage. But when it comes to tangible heritage, one thing that I think about is these are usually things that people can touch. A lot of times they can be artifacts, they can be cultural artifacts from the past for different civilizations. Fashion is tangible cultural heritage. Food is tangible cultural heritage in the way that it's prepared. So I don't know how much a banana is really just tangible cultural heritage on its own. But if you have a certain way of, preparing that banana, or including that banana with other things in a diet that is culturally unique, those things are people, I think, mostly acting on the heritage, if that makes sense. So or creating the heritage. So you create those artifacts, you create that fashion. The culinary techniques that you use, those are culinary techniques that humans discovered and culinary techniques that humans implement. So when I look at the landscape heritage, maybe with the exception of the architecture, but even the architecture fits in, and I'll tell you why. Okay, this is going to go over 10 minutes. I'm sorry. When we look at the landscape heritage, much of it is, the heritage piece comes from, so the heritage piece does come from human beings interacting with the surroundings. But I would say that a lot of times with the landscape heritage, also what you have is a creation of things that humans are responding to versus acting on. So you look at let's take Chincoteague Island in Virginia for a second, or it might be Assateague Island. I think it's Assateague Island where the Chincoteague horses live. So that's kind of confusing in and of its own right. But anyway, so if it's Assateague Island that the horses live on, and the Chincoteague horses are part of that island's cultural heritage. But what you're dealing with is these horses have roamed free there for generations. I think even for centuries. They were, I think, set loose in the wild way back in the day. I don't think that the entire origin of the Chincoteague horse is actually known. But these horses, it's believed that these horses were set free, and then they started developing problems due to inbreeding and that sort of thing, because it was a small population of them. And so wildlife commissions in Maryland and in Virginia introduced more horses to breed with those wild horses, those Chincoteague horses. And so now today you have a lot of heritage along Assateague Island related to those Chincoteague horses. But when we talk about those horses being part of the landscape heritage, and those horses eating plants that are part of the landscape heritage, and those horses roaming and the roaming patterns of those horses contributing to the landscape of Assateague Island and how Assateague Island is treated, I think that humans have more of a reactive response with their landscape heritage as opposed to more of a proactive response with their tangible heritage. But the thing is, even that's not quite clear, and that's why I think it's an interesting subject. So the reason why that might even be quite clear is because maybe these other things that develop with tangible heritage are also things that are humans reacting to the their setting as opposed to being proactive and dominating their setting. So for an example, if you wanted to counter that argument that I just made, then you could say, well, yeah, fashion might be tangible heritage, and you might want to say that fashion is all about the will to create and the will to artistically express within humans, but maybe it's not. Maybe fashion is also a response to weather. So maybe you have fashions along the equator that are different from fashions in, let's say, Finland or Norway or something like that. And that's because there are different types of clothing needed in order to survive in those different environments. So there is a debate that could be had around that. So those are some of the things that I hope to say in some of these check-in videos to kind of provoke thought and everything. And that's what I wanted to put out there this week. But having said that, we are going to keep this under 13 minutes. So go ahead and get to reading. And I am here if you need me or when you need me. AustinJ@Missouri.edu. Anytime, any place in town. Hit me up if you need me. And aside from that, just enjoy your week. Hopefully enjoy the module. And get to those heritage sites because you have a paper that's due on February the 13th. And that is pretty much it. I am Dr. Jace, and we are going to win the race. Have a good one.